off video. Sorry.
Is that Julia saying hi to Jock?
Yeah.
Are you
100
in
yards away.
Petersham?
Huh?
Jock, are you in Petersham?
No, I'm in Cambridge.
In the other room, part of the
Yeah.
house.
Room, right.
We want to do justice to this. It's hard to see on a sofa. This is
We're
great.
doing the same thing.
Yeah,
We're in the other room from Tom and Joyce.
Hopefully a good
I
decision.
respect your thinking. Great.
Fighting over the dog. Is the dog going to go back and forth between
This
the,
dog is
Yes.
amazing.
yeah,
Good addition.
so
A terrier?
Schnauzer. Say hi to the camera. Miniature schnauzer.
Well,
One of the great
aw,
people.
my Cutter.
Cutter, yeah.
I don't think everybody knows Howard Jacobson and his wife Frances, who sadly died. But Howard's just one of the great people in Worcester. In any event, at the service, one of the daughters was recounting, and they got a dog. And Howard is all in on canine. His wife didn't care much for it. And at one point, he asked her to go to the vet to pick up their dog who'd been out, brought back, and Howard looked and said, "That's not our dog."
oh no.
He brought back a totally different dog.
No.
Oh my God.
better that than a child.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
exactly.
Oh my God.
Brilliant, passive aggressive move.
Oh my God.
Well,
I
then
hope
there's
there's a
Bobby
vet.
Nichols' dog.
Hello,
We're gonna-
Joe. Hi,
Oh.
Mark.
Hi.
Hi, Frank.
Hey,
Hi, George. I'm Margaret.
And here's a
Happy
little,
birthday, Tom.
Happy birthday, Tom.
Hi,
yes.
Joyce.
How are you?
Good.
Hi,
Where's the,
Elizabeth.
hi, where's the puppy?
well, it's in with Amy and Jill in the top right corner.
Oh, there he
There
is.
it is.
Oh,
Nice.
look at that.
And Josephine reminded me that they used to have a miniature schnauzer just like this one.
Well,
And
not
he was called
exactly.
Scruffy, and you may remember Scruffy.
Yeah.
Well,
Scruffy, yeah.
This one is called Cutter. And the problem is that now that Scruffy is in my mind, every time I look at this guy, I call him Scruffy. And so I'm having an identity crisis now.
Right. Well,
And
Cutter
It's
is
definitely
Cutter.
not an age thing.
Some people think,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do that with Jock too. I call him Scruffy.
Yeah,
Just think of it that
that's on a good day.
Scruffy really was very scruffy looking, and
Yeah.
Cutter looks as though he's had a nice cut. I think that's how you can keep them apart.
He
so
always
you'll be
had
all
Scruffy
set.
named himself.
Yeah. He had Lyme disease, right?
Yes, he did.
sitting
Yeah.
up so right and tall. It's great.
And now is a bummer, but yeah. So
Levi,
this-
you're looking a little scruffy at the moment with your hair. That's
Yeah.
an honor of the dog, I think.
Yeah, haircut. Yeah.
So
don't we all? You
what I
know.
wanted to do with this birthday Zoom Tales is make sure that you all have drinks so that you're comfortable and relaxed and appetizers. And this came about because one of us, Rosamond, turned 70 a couple of years ago,
Oh.
and she wanted to get everybody together and have a big party. And she rented a place or got a restaurant all booked. She sent out save the date announcements, and then the restaurant closed and COVID came and everything fell apart. So Rosamond's party just went down the tubes. And I liked that idea. I really wanted to do something along
I think
that line.
Richard was very involved in pulling that together as well. Right?
Yeah,
Yes,
Yes.
which might be one reason why it hasn't happened. But I think that this will be great, but I don't think this should take the place of an in-person gathering.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we will schedule that when it's a bit safer to go out.
right.
And I will take full responsibility for that. Not for bringing the numbers down, but for scheduling it. So we'll see where that.
COVID is your fault, Richard? Is that what I
Well,
thought?
not entirely, not entirely.
It's COVID, but it's also the weather conditions right now. Some of you, Joe and Huck, were just talking about the icing coming up, and Seth has been out. You know, Chicago is just inundated with it. So being born in February has its downside as far as getting people together. But
Yeah,
I
well,
wanted to do that. And then Richard, just if I can just say, you mentioned that last September, I guess it was, you had a bit of a heart issue with that got me
I think-
upset that, we're getting old and we don't want to get.
Yeah, and
really
I think, Tom, if I could interrupt, I think we really should just go around and each talk about our most extreme health issue that we have faced in the last years. I just think, and if anyone has like, if anyone has x-rays or even just reports from a doctor, that would be great. I think it would bring the group a little bit closer together.
But Richard, on behalf of Julie, I think it's that DSM handbook that we really need. Isn't so much the physical damage, it's the mental stuff, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's only an hour. We only have an hour.
Happy birthday, Winslow.
But
Yeah,
the other
happy
thing is,
birthday, Winslow.
I went to a memorial service for Joyce's last remaining aunt in November. And Joyce was asked to be both minister and master of ceremonies, and she did a great job. And afterwards, we were talking together with some of her cousins. And one of her cousins, as you may know, is married to Elizabeth Taylor. And it's just very cool that Elizabeth is related to us, not just through the family growing up, but also through Joyce. And so we consider that family. So I like that
Yes.
whole thing.
Yeah.
That's
And then
cool.
The other thing I wanted to say was that a few years ago, George was acknowledged for his work in land management. And the group that did it didn't give him a gold watch and they didn't give him an engraved plaque. But what they did was give him a trail in his honor. And the George Dresser Trail is right on the Holden-Paxton line, I believe. And
That's
George
awesome.
was asked to say a few words. And what he started off with saying was, it's really nice to see all of you guys together now here, rather than all of you getting together and at my funeral, it won't be quite the same.
Oh,
So I'm really glad to see all of you guys at 75, and I'm really enjoying being 75. And I want to read a short poem that appeared in the Times. Actually, it was supposed to come out today, but it came out a week ago. And
Vineyard.
somebody asked me if it's the New York Times, but no, this is the Martha's Vineyard Times. And after we do this, I'm going to go, and I'm not honoring Richard with talking about your health issues, but I'm going to talk about what your memories are of coming to Wachusett Street as kids, and as what it's like with those memories. And then we can go, I have a slideshow if anyone's interested. I've shown some of these pictures before, but if we want to go over them again, we can. But here's the little poem. It's called On Turning 75. I never thought the day would arrive, the day that I turned 75, an age beyond my year in ken. Too many years to remember when, as a youth, carefree, without fear, I gave no thought to a career. I got to read this in bigger script. Whoever this did not get the right way.
Suppose we shouldn't laugh at that.
I took to teaching to avoid the draft. I'm serious, though some folk laughed. I was still wet behind the ears. Third grade aged me beyond my years. My parents had an early expiration date. The years flew by, too fast, too late. In my mind, I was doing something bold. In nursing homes, I worked with the old. At a reunion, I took my chance with a classmate. We loved to dance, and thanks to the vineyard, I came by choice, falling in love with my old friend Joyce. And here we've been for many a year, sharing a life we find so dear. Walks in the woods, or along the shore, so much to do, still so much more. I love the vineyard atmosphere. The scene is sharp and bright and clear. And this is where I plan to stay and treasure life in every way. I never thought the day would arrive, the day that I turned 75. So here's the day that I turned 75. So
Oh, wow.
thank you, thank you. So the only other things that I wanted to say are, I have two memories that I wanted to share with you. And one of them is apocryphal, like we're not really sure it happened, but we heard the story so many times.
Like all our memories.
Yes, like all our memories. But this story is absolutely true in my memory because I heard it so many times. And it was a dinner party where Louisa, who was the curator of the Worcester Art Museum and was so wrapped up in any sort of art, she was in a discussion at dinner, and the plates had been filled with food and people were chatting away, and the talk got focused on what sort of china was the plates were. And Louisa said she knew what it was, what kind it was. And to prove it, she picked up the plate, tipped it over and said, yes, I'm right. This is the kind of china it was. And the food went all over the dining table. And I love that story because it just resonates with who Louisa was in my mind, that she was a little absent-minded, but right on topic as far as what she wanted to talk about.
I believe that was at the Asa Phillips, and it was a very formal dinner. It wasn't just sort of
wow.
getting
The
together in
scoop course.
Brookline. So this was not a casual, but
Yeah.
serious, yes.
So it really did happen.
No,
Yeah.
well,
Oh,
that's the story. I will have to check with Asa this summer, I guess so. I think so. He may not
And I
know.
think it was soup.
Oh, it was
So
soup.
it was
It was still
soup,
soup.
yeah.
so
Or at least that's what I always heard.
Story was soup, yeah.
what got me started on this whole thing with memories is that when we went to this memorial service, which Joyce organized last November, we were talking with Elizabeth about just growing up and so forth. And she reminded me of a time when the three good boys, Tom, George, and Richard, played, was it the Three Wise Men?
The Three Wise Men at Wachusett Street.
Yeah.
And as Dad used to call her, Mrs. Dresser,
Oh, no.
was sitting in her chair, and we were in the front room, and they put a curtain up to
Yeah.
divide the dining room. And the Dresser boys were the Three Wise Men.
Oh, that's great.
That's all I remember of that. But I also remember going up to the third floor
No,
at
you
Cedar
weren't
Street,
allowed
and
up there. That's where the
we-
Heron Dresser Club met.
and then being one of the youngest, I thought, God, these boys are so old.
Still true.
So I've always heard that, the dress boys were the three good boys, but I want to know when they weren't the three good boys. What
That happened later in life.
Yeah,
Your question.
One of the paradoxes of growing up.
right. But look whom they had to compare to, Jock,
Yeah,
Frank, and me.
exactly.
Of course, they
Pretty
were the
low
three good
standard.
boys. You didn't have to be that good to be.
I think one of the
good
great
boys.
photographs is the photographs of the three Heron kids in their patent leather and they're everything dressed just back from church, because we had Sunday lunch pretty much, except when God was in Maine, all through it was great. And then the three good boys with their kind of clean but country kind of thing at the end of every lunch. The herons were a mess. All sauce tipped over, kind of hair like this. This is a thing. And three good boys were pretty much what they'd been before. So it was a transformational picture. It was really kind of interesting. Josephine was pretty good. Frank was pretty good, but there was one super bad boy, and that kind of spilled over.
I have to differ a little bit on that topic, if you don't mind, because
No.
the innocent child I was living down the street from you on Burgess Road,
Uh-huh.
and coming up and being introduced to that slingshot.
Careful, Danny.
Oh,
Slingshot, which you guys used. And I mean, this was like, I don't know, we had to step back like 15 or 20 feet to shoot this thing. It was just
So
remarkable.
John Wood was responsible for that because he used it to send this hospital kind of elastic
That's right.
across the Yale Quad.
And
So
technically, it wasn't on your property.
No, we
so
went
it
to
was,
Butternut Hill, the top of Butternut Hill. Frank, I think I know, was there, and it almost kind of killed Uncle Dan because we were at the upper top. They were coming over for
These were
Sunday.
water balloons.
Water balloons. And we put water balloons into this thing way up at the crest. And it was also, we bought it from a hospital supply store that Abby Hoffman's family owned. And going in there, it was just a sense of guilt. I'll take some Band-Aids. I'll take some, oh, do you have any surgical cord by any chance? And so we got the surgical cord. We dug a hole up in the top of Butternut Hill and we would fire it across.
Oh,
And
my.
Frank, I think your job was to say cars are coming. And I remember Frank saying, cars are coming. But that it was already too late. And you wonder how all these things happen in Syria and everything and all this, collateral damage. Anyway, this shot went flying across and I think it hit a car, but it was very close to where Uncle Dan was driving around. And it was it wasn't like Good Boys. Let's put it that way. It was bad.
that being my point, really.
Frank, you remember that? Because I think your job was to be the scout.
There's an important, but what I remember, I don't lie often, but when I do,
It's a big
tell
one.
a good
Yes.
one.
Yes.
And I was down on Salisbury. There's nothing to do with Tom. We'll get back to Tom in a second. But I was signaling the all clear to fire, and I would wave my arms for not clear, don't fire.
Yeah.
And a couple, Gay Peterson's brother and a date were walking down
Yeah.
Salisbury Street, and I hadn't noticed them, so I was given the go-ahead. And then when I realized I was waving my arms and it was too late, the launch code had been entered, and
Yeah.
this balloon landed, I'd say 10 feet from them.
Yeah.
They asked me if I knew who did that. And I said, no.
I believe you, Frank.
They kept walking.
I'm sure they did too.
Fortunately for Tom, he's connected genetically. So this does tie to Tom.
Well, not Wachusett Street, but Tom, I do remember, maybe I've shared this before, but the incredible launching of the Spring Pond Queen. And
Oh, that's what, yeah.
forget about its seaworthiness. What was remarkable was the paint job, the paint job and the lettering you did on it. Honestly, it was artistic and masterful. And I don't know if there's a photo of that or anything, but it did not float. But the artwork, I mean, no, the care you did with the color and the printing was absolutely remarkable. In my mind, that's my memory, and I'm keeping
But
it.
it sank right away. It went.
No. Yeah, it never had a chance. It just slid through the water.
It had been run. So Leva and I were in Stockholm. It did come to mind because we saw that great ship, and I'm banking on the name, that sunk after about a quarter of a mile. It's one of the biggest warships that they'd built, and it was the 17th, 18th century, and it's
The Vasa.
What is it?
Vasa.
Yes, it was great, and it was just this is a Spring Pond Queen at a slightly different scale. It was great,
But very artistic.
beautiful. Blue, it was blue, right? Painted blue.
Yeah. Royal blue.
Royal blue.
Well, I could just add to that. I think actually, although Tom is a great artist, I think that the lettering
That
on
looked
the
like blue.
Pond Queen was actually done by Jack LaPrade.
Oh.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
Okay, well,
Wrong about that. I'm willing to be
Oh, yeah, good old Jack.
way to kill
became a
the
professional
anecdote.
scientist.
I stand corrected, and I appreciate that. That's good.
That's great.
It looked great.
I had
hope all
one
these
other
folks-
memory from Wachusett Street that's nothing as exciting as a Spring Pond Queen going down, but it was just that at Thanksgiving one time, and I'm guessing it was around 1960, that my father was carving the turkey because he loved to carve turkeys or meat or whatever. And I was sitting, Richard won't believe this, but I was sitting at the kids' table, and there were some times in life when you were not with the adults. And I was with Chris Lincoln and George and somebody else. And Chris went over to get his turkey dinner, and he came back with a drumstick that was about as big as a baseball bat. And George and I were just amazed and in awe that he could think of eating that. And we sort of dared him and teased him and kept after him. And he was, able to just keep going seriously and without making a big deal. And he finished this monstrous drumstick, and we were just impressed with his capacity to follow through. And also we, teasing probably bothered him a little bit, but once he got started, he just wouldn't stop. It was just kind of neat.
It's a straight line to cartooning. It's obvious. That's where
Now I know why he lives in Minneapolis.
Yes.
I'm kidding.
You all remember this because we used to spend on the third floor. Actually, the greatest third floor was at Cedar Street in that ballroom. With the Lincoln. That was just in a different league. But the third floor at 65, which was quite crammed with stuff. And we were a little older, not old, but we're up there exploring, and we came across the Harvard Crimson, 1939, 1937. And the headline was something to the effect of "Senior Disappears." And it was Uncle Waldo.
Oh, wow.
And that wasn't well known to all of us that he had. And it was really kind of this discovery process that was really so powerful. And I don't remember, did we rush down and sort of like, what's this? I don't really remember what we did, but I do remember we all discovered it and didn't know what to make of it.
No. Wow.
Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, I remember that vividly. We did not confront them. I think I mean, I've only puzzled over this for the last 60 years.
Yeah.
I made a point of talking to my mother and Rosie and Louise and Franny about it, and they all had really strong opinions, but no facts at all. So, it's one of those eternal mysteries, but I remember that vividly because none of us knew about it at all.
Just things that were up in that attic that we never found. There were rooms up there that I never went into, and there's all kinds of stories.
Dan and Chris, who wanted Roz, thanks to you, Uncle Dan went out, and his solution was to go to every Harvard club throughout the United States to say, keep an eye out for Waldo Lincoln. It was unlikely place, and he would have shown up.
And so that's where he would go.
He could not imagine anyone could survive in the United States of America without a Harvard club.
Yeah.
So do you guys remember that Elizabeth brought up the Tom, George, and Richard being the three wise men? So we had pageants every Christmas Eve. Aunt Rosie would organize them. Do you remember the pageant when Mom and Aunt Rosie were? It was all about the washing machine, the dishwasher.
Was this the Three Stooges? Was this the Three Stooges?
It was the Three Stooges and Aunt Wheezy. Yeah. So it was the Three Stooges, and it was all about whether the dishes in the dishwasher were clean or dirty.
Right.
Oh my God. I mean, that was just like that. So that was when we were living there. And and it was just hysterical and true. I mean, the swearing that went on.
Also a testament to Uncle Waldo's incredible filing system, because when we were trying to find it at some point, he had this amazing system. He's an archivist at heart and many things at heart, but he had it. He's the one person that still had it.
But do we have it now?
Doc, it was actually more impressive than that Rosie showed up at our house, and she was very impatient. I had never seen that side of her before. And she said, Waldo, where is the skit we did in 1957? And he got up and walked into the other room and came back with it. It's the kind of thing that would be unbelievable in a play. You would just say, well, that could never happen.
Right.
But his filing system was such that he immediately put his hands on it.
Wonder what it was under, like Yule trees. Wonder what it was under. So is that script still around?
Yes, I believe it's in the archives somewhere. I used a fair amount of it in some restoration.
I'm not sure I could get it as quickly as my father did, but I could get it within a few minutes.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
Wow.
And I would be relying on his filing system.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did anybody film it?
Oh, nothing. It's almost no film.
Yeah,
Some
this was,
embarrassing photographs. No film.
must have been like 1963 or 4 or something.
Well,
Hey, Molly.
Hey, Molly.
Sorry, I'm late.
Oh, you're great to have you.
We waited as long as we could.
Yeah,
We gotta go.
but it is recorded. It is recorded.
100% of friends, and to have Lincolns and other Taylors.
I gotta move this.
Okay.
So I have a question. Do people remember Gauze mints, peppermints?
Whoever's
yeah.
not
I
talking,
made them.
mute. Put
Overwhelming.
yourself
kind of
on mute if
recollection.
you're not talking, or we're gonna get the echoes.
Yeah, I made peppermints with often, and especially at the at Christmas time, and gave them to all of my teachers at Shepherd Knapp and everything, and they would come in this like all crumbled baggie.
Incredibly powerful.
But it was so much fun, and I don't have a marble tabletop now, so I can't make them anymore. But I loved that. That's a major memory of mine.
Powerful memory. That's a powerful memory.
Well, that's because the scent was so powerful too. So
Yeah.
No,
but
You could only one. You could only one.
Josephine, did you and Molly coordinate, or was that just a?
Yeah.
oh, it's yeah.
That's
Okay,
scary.
just wondering if you-
Always that.
Don't you laugh,
So-
Jill and Amy. I'm watching you.
So Steph, now you're seeing double, aren't you lucky?
Right.
Well, this is a weird observation. I'm surprised Sandy has, Joyce has, how few people have glasses?
How
Oh,
few
Dan, you've
people?
got glasses. But percentage wise, this is kind of interesting. Molly, I can't see you. Maybe I'm all wrong.
They don't
now-
have rims.
Maybe I can't see. Okay.
Did you
Yeah.
say
We
how
all
many
have
people have
glasses,
them or
Doc,
don't
just
have?
not wearing
A lot
them.
of gray hair, I give that. Yeah.
Did you say they don't have them or do have them?
Do have, not that many. Huck
They
has
do.
one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of us just look much better without them.
And of course,
Joe, do you have the recipe for those mints?
I do. In fact, I think it's in
That book.
Oh,
the book.
Put together.
Yeah, you don't use that all the time?
I do.
So, yeah.
I'll have to
And,
make some.
And you have a bureau. There we go. Awesome. That's
What?
great. Awesome. So, and you have a
I use
bureau
Waldo's filing
with
system.
marble on it. Yeah,
That-
that's great. That's
The other thing
great.
is the great, and it's out at Buttercup Fort now, is the amount of hours that we maybe misspent use on that great bowling thing. And it was built by, anyway, remember the bowling kind of that we
Oh,
spent
yeah.
lots of time in the library to the right as you come in. I think that's where they kept us away from everybody else. But that, we spent hours doing that. It was so much
Oh, I
fun.
know. I know.
Oh, I hate to intrude, but birthday boy, I'm curious what you did today. Sorry to get away from others.
Julia, you're so kind.
I don't know what else to do. I tried to be subtle.
What I did today, Julia, was to curate a slideshow, which I'd like to share with you in just
Great.
a minute.
Awesome.
But other than that, we have this dog that we've had for the last week, and Cutter is taking up most of our time. And I think we walked with him 3 or 4 times today. Joycey served 2 of my favorite meals today. We had apple pancakes for breakfast and
Yum.
a great big salad display for lunch. And we just ordered takeout from Salvatore's Italian restaurant. I've been fielding phone calls, and I got a nice card from Tide Pool Bookstore. And I just
Came
want
from
to
us.
point out that Amy and Jill were the ones who really agitated for me to get a big party going. And when Omicron and the whole weather situation in December seemed to put a party on hold, I went ahead and planned this Zoom meeting because I started this in early January. And in late January, Amy said, I want to crash your party. Jill said she wanted to crash my party. So they decided to come like a week ago. And yesterday, Amy flew from Los Angeles to Boston. Jill drove from Connecticut up through Worcester and shocked Tide Pool because she stopped by to pick up 3 copies of Mouse, M-A-U-S, the banned book in Tennessee. I'm giving to my 3 teenage granddaughters, even though it's interesting. Anyway, and then Jill went to Logan, picked up Amy, and they drove down to Woods Hole. And I knew all that was working smoothly. And Joyce and I had dinner ready. Everything was good until we got a text from Amy that said, due to fog, the boats aren't running. We can't come over tonight, but we'll be there tomorrow. So Joyce and I, our hearts sank and everything was sort of despondent for about 10 minutes. And I gave Amy a couple of hotels to try, and I commiserated with her. And then I said, well, what are we going to do? And she realized that the joke had had its desired effect. And she said, Dad, we were just kidding. We're on the boat. We'll be there in 45 minutes. And I wrote a quick text, but didn't send it by mistake. I honestly didn't send it by mistake. So both of them were sitting there for like 20 minutes thinking, well, we fooled them, but they don't know that we fooled them and they're going to be upset and this whole thing. And it just got things going. But the Dresser girls know how to get after this Dresser guy. And it follows from my father, because he used to do these things. He'd come home from work and ask my mother, well, guess who I saw today? And of all the people in the world, she had to guess who it would be, and it would just keep going. So,
Is that where you got that?
that's where I got it. So it continues into the next generation. So
Yeah, but Tom, it evolved because my mother made it very clear 2 things she did not want to hear about at the end of the day when he came home: the bridge game and the guessing game. So he would give these phenomenally detailed descriptions of exactly how the bridge game played out.
right.
The
We
guessing,
didn't know what his career was.
it started out with guess who I saw today, but it ultimately landed at simply guess. And that was the question, guess. So yeah, there's some kind of tradition going on here. Maybe somebody can break it.
He does it all the time, and I've decided I'm going to say Santa Claus, Einstein, JFK.
But the whole thing of the boat being canceled, Jill used to work for me when I had the laundromat in Amesbury, and I was living in Peabody. And one time she was due to get out of work, and I called her and said, I'm just leaving the house now. I'll be there in half an hour. And that meant I would be half hour later than what she expected. And I showed up like 30 seconds later because I was around the corner. And it just, it got her all agitated, but it was that sense of humor that came back to bite me today.
But as we get older, let's not pull any of these, Levi, don't pull this. We're getting beyond 70. Be careful. We're not that.
Well, we're giving ideas. That's
But
not
Jill,
good.
you didn't take your RV. You actually flew to New York, which is fantastic. That is a great testament, not just being picked up, but you flew.
I flew, that's right. And I was terrified.
Of that. Yes, and you made it.
So I'm going to ask your patience, and I'm going to try to share a screen and see if I can talk about my birthday going back in past time.
Wow.
And see if you can see this.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is my parents when they first came. He came home from the Coast Guard, 1946 or so. And Joyce,
Never seen
this was my mother. because she never saw her, well, she never saw her, but never saw her with curly
I
hair.
saw her.
No.
But well, this one I've got.
Great.
And I think, I don't know how to move these pictures on the right. but-
Waldo went on to Okinawa, right? After Europe.
And this is God with the three good boys.
Oh, look at that.
So sweet.
Look at how determined my face is.
Yeah.
I'm
Whoops.
gonna go in your bed.
Oh, my God.
Uncle George, Uncle Dan,
Mhm.
Waldo, Lou, Richard starting off things.
Oh,
And-
who is the guy in that? He looks just like Sam. That
Really?
guy in the middle in the back.
Well,
That's
in the middle,
Uncle Dan. and-
Uncle Dan.
Uncle Dan.
Yeah,
my
that's,
God.
yeah.
And then
Pop off.
Margaret, Martha, and George
Wild.
going
Yeah.
right to left.
That is so funny. Oh, that's great.
I don't know how to do this.
Oh, who's that cute girl?
Ah,
what a bunch of
Looking away from the camera.
I know, Josephine, really.
I love the boots and the hats and the
All
jacket.
about the hats.
And John
Yeah.
standing up so straight and tall, and so is Frank.
Yeah.
pathetic, weird. Yeah.
So Herron boys,
Yeah.
I gather this is
But
the
I- is
before
that-
photo.
And then the very suave
yes.
Richard.
At the end of these parties, we would be so, I won't speak for Josephine. I will speak for Frank and me. What a mess we became, because all the coffee, all that Hershey's maple chocolate sauce all over us.
Yeah, I spent all my time with Gone, Aunt Weezy, and Aunt Rosie, so I was fine. That's great.
And Uncle Dan with the three good boys.
That's
He
one of
looks
my
a little
favorites.
horrified.
George
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah, I didn't like having my picture taken back then.
Now, this is kids' table, but not
That's a fun
Chris
one.
Lincoln. And I don't know who that is on the left.
I think that's me.
Robin, what is that?
That's Roz.
Yeah, it doesn't look
Robin,
like
yeah.
Joe. It's Roz.
Or us.
Yeah. Richard, Jock. and-
Oh,
and-
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
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 That's so funny. I had that same haircut, Roz.
Yeah.
Not then, but.
Those
Yeah.
cheers.
Joe, you would advance to the adult table probably.
Rick looks kind of intense.
You're a wreck,
Here,
Jock.
they-
Look at you.
Yeah, look goofy.
I
Yeah.
think, Jock, you're exactly what you talked about.
Yeah.
When Holly Taylor saw this picture, she could identify everybody in it. And I give her credit for
Wow.
knowing just about everybody here.
Yeah.
And this was the eclipse, right?
Molly, I apologize for your absence here, but
Molly wasn't born.
I know.
Molly Soy's late.
It wasn't her fault. But
But if
wasn't
you
this
look
the
at the
eclipse?
top,
Frank
you can
on
see
top of George.
four siblings.
That's
So that's
great.
Frank up on George's shoulder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Oh,
That's
that's,
flipping the
I've never
bird.
seen that picture. That's
It
very
does look
sweet.
like you're flipping the bird.
Yeah.
But-
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's cute.
Jill never knew we had a goat, and
Oh, what a goat.
we did have a goat.
Who's this poor girl in the back that you left behind?
Margaret, I think.
Okay.
So they can see the other side.
That was Scamper.
What's going on here?
It's a nice picture.
Okay.
No.
That's when I've seen that.
That's great.
It's so cute.
Love that hat.
There's something about Richard wearing a hat that just, gives it
That's
character.
It's a little Hitler Youth for my taste.
Yeah, right. Hey.
I was
going to
thinking
it could be
Tsarist
Soviet.
Russia.
I'm about to say Soviet. There's a Soviet look
Yeah,
here.
it's a Soviet.
Sorry, Tsarist. That's better.
Pre-Soviet.
Yeah. That is a great picture.
That
One of
is
my favorites.
wonderful.
Aw.
Can you get?
That is wonderful.
Can't use my cursor. I've got that sailor's outfit. We've got Samantha trying to get on and I can't.
Oh,
Oh.
does she know the 15, 15,
Aw.
15? Ooh.
Oh,
That's great.
It's so great.
Oh, my God.
How do I?
Talk about suave.
I know.
George, the movie star.
You're the movie.
I know he does. Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Where is that? Where is that? Those are Oxford Street's glasses. Where is that
Now play.
picture taken?
I think it's actually Gloucester.
It's not
Let's
Oxford.
think about this
Not
for a
Oxford Street.
minute. Where,
I think
what, okay, let's think.
I think it's Gloucester.
Could be
Where?
Gloucester.
Nobody's looking at.
I think
the
it's my
camera.
mom's house in Gloucester.
Oh,
I
okay.
What
Was that Amy next to Molly? Is that
Yes.
Amy next to Molly?
Yep.
That's
I
Amy.
That's
think
Amy.
so.
No, that's Amy and Jill.
Amy
No,
and
that's me.
No,
No.
No,
that's Molly.
that's me.
Oh, that's
There've been
Molly
enough
and
pictures
Jill.
of you.
Yeah,
Jesus,
sorry, that's
Joseph.
Molly and Jill.
It
nobody's.
looks like
looking at
Dad had a martini already.
There she is.
Hi,
Oh, that's
Molly.
great.
With my own martini.
Yeah.
Where was that?
Then Groton.
This
Oh,
is
that's
my
a great
favorite
picture.
Oh,
Polaroid
yeah, that is
picture of all
a
time.
favorite.
That's
That is
great.
my favorite
Who
picture.
are these
That's a great
people,
picture.
Tom? Who are they?
Katrina.
Dorothy and
Molly,
Katrina.
Dorothy.
You don't know who these are? Catriona Taylor, Molly Herron, and Dorothy Lincoln.
Oh,
And
wow.
Danny
Murphy,
called
what are you holding up?
I know, what
I'm
is
curious,
that?
what does it say?
Dorothy's holding a
Help.
Polaroid
Help.
Oh, I think I won something.
Yay.
that I
You
love.
look like
that.
you won something.
I think I won the pudding.
Oh,
This is Amy's
That
emergence
might have been what you won.
into publicity. So my parents,
oh my
they,
God.
they were both alive until for Amy's birth. And then Jill was born in October and Dad died in December. So they just
Wow.
had one, basically a month that they were alive together. And then Mom died a year later. So it was Amy born, Jill born, Dad died, Mom died in the course of like 3 years. It was really
Yeah.
pretty.
So is that Amy and Jill in these pictures with
These are
your
both
parents?
Amy. You'll see Jill
Oh,
and
those are both Amy, okay.
you'll see.
Yeah,
Jill
you don't
and-
recognize Amy's hat, Julia?
Still look exactly the same.
Now, on the left is
Oh, it's
Aunt
great.
Elle, my mother.
Yeah.
Was very short, and she's holding Jill, who's very short, walking upstate in Albany. And on the right is me and Amy.
Oh, they're so cute.
Look
Wow.
very young, Tom.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know,
That's
I'm
a
done.
wonderful picture.
Oh, yeah, these now you're talking.
For Jock.
Yeah, that's Jock not looking at
Jock.
the camera. Shame, shame.
Those are some,
With
that's
his
an outfit.
diapers.
I learned that from Josephine. But wow, what a bunch of goofballs. These are great.
The hats are great.
Oh, and look
Bill
at
asked me, who's got the outfit?
Bill.
We don't
So
know, right?
Who has the kilt? We don't have, whom did we give it
No,
to?
we
Did we
don't
give it to
know.
you, Molly?
Looks like Jill.
No, I don't
Who
have
has
it.
it
Or
today?
Sam? Does Sam
That's
Dresser
Jill,
have it?
Julia.
Not younger than-
It is Jill. Okay, thank you.
That is
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are those bagpipes?
I'm not.
Yeah.
looking.
Is that you?
Yes,
Sam Dresser?
I can wait.
and there's a Scottish flag, and the kilt has gone missing in action, I
No.
think. And
Oh,
there's a portrait of Waldo, right? That's at a
Right.
Buttercup Thorpe in that same kilt on Somme Sound.
Yep.
From
Right.
Harvard.
This is Rosie, George, Margaret, me, Amy, and Jill. Amy's on
Aw.
the ground and Jill is on my lap.
what a riot.
That's great.
Something about black and white is cool.
Yeah, black and white's great.
Anybody?
Oh
know-
my God.
That's a nice picture. Who is that
Isn't it?
lovely couple?
Who are those children?
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's glasses.
I love it.
Those are some glasses.
Yeah.
Don't you
Yeah.
like those? Those are nice. I
think
now
that style
that I
is coming
see those, I
back.
gotta get new glasses, so now I have an option.
Yeah.
Nice.
the teeth on both of you are
I
scary.
should have looked away. Oh, and
Too
that
young
looks like
to-
Sam Dresser.
I know, doesn't it?
So much like Sam Dresser.
That's
Oh,
right.
my.
The title of this is Flying, and we're not sure, but I think that's Molly, judging.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Is that- So
Tom, we're sure that's Molly, and I said so in the subtitle when I sent it to you. And so it was right there when you got the picture. That's Molly.
It is. It is.
I certify that.
Oh, good hair.
I love that.
Good hair.
yeah, the hair.
Wow, that's amazing. The
It looks like
80s
the,
are cruel.
it
Mom,
looks like the Bee Gees.
Yes.
Yeah.
Molly,
Yes.
we were trying to get your hair.
I
didn't
don't
work.
blame you.
I love Molly's eyes in this one, looking at sort of suspiciously out at us. And
And
Well,
this
I'm
portrait-
not, I'm not giving, that's Amy, right? No, that's Jill.
That's
That's
Jill. Look at
That's
Jill's
Jill.
face.
I'm not giving Jill a lot of space on that couch.
Yeah, but you
Not
have to
giving
have
you
space for your
space.
kilt. You
But
had to
that-
have space for your
that-
kilt, Molly.
That couch is out in Petersham, and that picture is right behind me.
Yeah.
Always
Aw.
weird.
Oh,
Oh,
that's cute. What a riot.
this is good.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's
So cute.
Now, this one
there are
goes
those glasses again. That's nice.
Yeah,
I think I've seen
this Sam front and center, right between Amy.
Oh my, oh, that must have been his
this Indian Lake?
birthday or something.
Indian
That was,
Lake?
that's at Indian Lake.
At Indian Lake.
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, what an
Yeah.
assortment of people.
And that's Andrew in the back on my
Yeah, and
shoulder.
Stephen on the way.
Andrew,
And Stephen on the
Stephen
way.
on the way.
Oh, and Molly's hair.
Yeah, pretty bad hair.
And my glasses. What could go wrong?
like an
Oh my.
evangelical commune. Oh,
And
that's,
here's-
oh, this is
oh, this is
Rosie's.
Aunt Rosie's getting ready.
after Rosie, yes.
Yeah,
That's right, yeah.
yeah.
I just want to say this picture,
Mom has pajamas.
this picture was my first introduction to this family.
Oh my God, Seth, I'm sorry.
Wow.
You stayed?
And you
And you
stayed? Wow.
stayed.
And that's Winslow on top of George, on
Yeah.
George's
Oh
shoulders.
my goodness.
right.
Oh.
I stayed for
my
Winslow.
Good.
God.
And Dad doesn't have a tie on.
Wait,
Right.
wait. When were
Where's
you looking
Dad?
for- Where, oh, there's Dad. He doesn't have a
There
what?
behind Frank. He doesn't have a tie on. He's got
Yeah.
actually
Doesn't
kind
have
of
a
a
tie
lumber jacket
And
thing.
who's-
Very unusual.
Is Frank, is that
Steven's
Frank
got a
in front
gun.
of-
I mean,
Well-
Sam's got a gun.
Are we painting,
Wait,
we're
Sam?
painting the fence? We're about
Oh
to paint
my
the
God.
fence, or we did paint it?
We did paint it.
Yeah, we
Oh.
painted that fence. Yeah.
We did. A lot of us wore our clothing inside out to paint that fence because we didn't remember to bring paint guns with us.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that is hilarious.
So this is a great
Like a
picture.
stereoscope
Aw.
thing where you see two pictures that are almost identical. Can you
Oh my
see
God.
what's different about the two pictures?
Yeah, Becca and Margaret.
Becca and Margaret.
That is so. Oh, you.
Becca, you
just
got
heard
some hair
taking the
there.
picture. That is hilarious.
Was this Photoshop?
Yeah.
That is
That's so
great.
funny.
Where is this?
Let's see, Albany, right?
Oh, there's
No,
Sam. That's Gloucester.
Yes.
Aw.
Oh,
Jill thought this was us in court or in church or something.
that makes sense.
It was at the, what,
University Club.
Union Club.
University Club.
In
University,
Albany.
yeah. So, and
Oh, that
Sam
is funny.
made the scene.
That's great.
Oh,
about ready to see
I love this one.
Caleb's got this all together.
yeah.
Yep.
So it looks like.
Nothing has
I
changed.
think. I've got them under
So
control.
Look at
This
that.
is
Just not have them under
First-
control.
That is a great picture.
It's probably the first year of the annual get together when Caleb Winslow and Sam Dresser did not crawl underneath the table, which they had done all the previous years that they were around.
To
And
tie
Al
people's
loved
shoes together.
He graduated.
Ah,
That's hilarious.
I wanted to.
That-
I still have that bow tie too.
oh, really? That's
I
great.
do.
That is a great picture.
That
It was
was
a snap.
take that photograph. Oh, hey, Roz.
so jovial. And this is the reason that we did the party, because that I did this because of Rosman wanting to do it 2 years ago.
Nice.
This is.
Oh, there we go. At the Payne House, right?
Oh, that
That's
was
Joe's
my
birthday.
birthday.
40th.
And Seth, you made all those deviled eggs.
Correct.
Aren't you glad you stayed because of that?
And
picture?
oh, and was this
This is when I
when
was big climbing.
Molly, I mean, not Molly, Aunt Rosie and
Yes.
and Sam
Had the vodka drink
had a
off.
bottle drinking contest. No, I
Yes.
guess not, because there's Eddie and everybody. I
No,
hope.
no. This is the same time because that's was at the Payne, the
No.
Timothy Payne House.
No, that was
No,
Rosie's
no,
birthday.
no, because Sam was.
It was,
on
oh, it was even younger. You're right.
literally
He was
drinking
even
a bottle.
younger. He was even
Yeah,
younger.
that was Aunt Rosie's birthday.
Sam
That's
was
right. This is
drinking
my
on his own
40th.
by then.
This is my 40th. I still
Yes,
have
yes, yes,
that
that's right.
that thing, that whatever it is I'm wearing, that came from the moon shop. Just so you know.
Ah.
Dad and I are both wearing the bolo ties made by Molly.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. With the, that's right. With the New York.
Clean shave.
Subway token. right?
That's great.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Wait, Dad,
Oh.
hold on. Josephine, what's the Sam vodka story? That's just a little tempting to
So,
hear.
so Aunt Rosie, so what birthday would have been hers?
Her
Her
70th or 75th,
60th
I
or
think, right?
I don't know. So Sam was just
70th?
born.
Wait,
I bet not. No, I bet it must have, yeah, right. I bet it must have been her probably, because Sam was just born. So it was 1983 or 80, because, no, 83 it would have been. Because Sam was born, so whatever.
Sounds like 75th.
So her 75th, and so Aunt Rosie got down. It's her 75th birthday, perfect.
Yeah.
So got down on the ground, and she had a bottle of vodka, and Sam had his bottle of milk, and they had a race. It was a great
We had a photo.
a
It was
photo.
photo op.
It was a great
Don't
picture.
mix them up.
And
Great.
that was the last party that actually all of sort of Gauze, all of those second and third, a lot of second and third cousins came. So a lot of the Bullocks, the Converse, all these other people. And it was
Aunt
kind of the
Rosie's
last-
party.
Rosie's, that piece.
Yeah.
It was kind of a remarkable in the Payne House.
Yeah.
And it's all this, and then Dad put all those kind of really quite beautiful, just plastic of just kind of paper, little paper bags and the votive lights that were
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah,
behind
yeah,
the
yeah.
driveway coming down. So it was really
Yeah.
quite a
Yeah.
remarkable time. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the last really multi-generational one, I think, of that older
that was
generation.
Of that generation.
So
Yeah.
this is Winslow and Caleb, and I found 2 or 3 of these pictures that I'm going to send to
Awesome.
George and Margaret, and they can.
Great.
Oh, those are
take care of
great.
it. They made
I would
it
love a copy of this.
floating around.
That is great.
the island. I
In
just-
Somesville, that's
Yes.
in Somes Harbor.
Need to build a new raft for Sheep Island this
Yeah.
summer.
Just moments
I feel
before
very
Winslow was
confident.
kind of pushed into the water.
I remember there were a lot of jellyfish that summer.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, is that when Hamlet got stung?
Could be.
So this floated better than the Spring
Now,
Pond
just
Queen,
let
just
it
not quite as
fall.
elegant.
hi,
Ah,
Cutter.
Dog.
Oh, hi,
These are
Joyce.
new Addition to the family, and we picked him up at just about a week ago, 5 o'clock last Friday, and Cutter, miniature schnauzer, and reminiscent of Scruffy, as we
Oh,
mentioned at the top of the
That's
hour.
very kind of you.
And
Very kind.
I have one more picture of just how attached.
Oh,
attached,
nice. Oh,
attached to each other.
oh,
So,
very sweet.
anyway,
Very sweet.
That's the end of the program.
Oh, that's a wonderful.
Very nice.
Very nice. That's good.
Hey.
I know, that's great. That is really fun.
That's
Oh my
awesome. That
gosh.
was Awesome.
So many wonderful memories. We are so lucky, aren't we? We're very lucky.
I want to
Hi,
thank
Jim.
Sorry, I couldn't get you some photos. from them.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, those are great.
Part of it. Samantha.
Samantha, you didn't see those pictures of me, did you?
Hey,
You might,
Samantha.
you might read.
I don't see I don't see anything that I'm not supposed to see.
no, we don't remember anything anyway.
Sam,
No.
you're a quick study, Sam Piro.
Happy birthday, Tom.
Happy birthday, Tom. Great.
Thank you
Oh,
all.
Happy birthday,
So
Tom.
Tom,
Happy
Tom.
Birthday, Tom.
Tom,
Happy
Tom,
birthday.
So
Tom, I would like to offer a potentially brief toast. But I make no promises.
A first.
Yeah.
This has never
would be a
happened
first.
before. I can't believe it.
No, so I first met Tom when I was actually very young. And the only person on the Zoom who has known Tom longer is George. They made their acquaintance 2 years earlier. And full disclosure, we're all family here. Tom and I had a very distant relationship at that time due to the fact that I did not speak English and Tom had no apparent interest in babies. But as the years went by, he maintained a consistent 4-year gap between his age and mine. And I never quite understood why it was so important for him to be the oldest. But he used it to his advantage. He was the biggest and the toughest kid on Manning Street. And actually, to be more accurate, he was the biggest and the toughest kid on our section of Manning Street, which included the Truesdells and the Larsons. When Tom went in one direction or the other, his life got more complicated. If he went in one direction, he might encounter Paul Showman. If he went in the other direction, if he went far enough, he might encounter Steve Cummings.
Terrifying.
But Tom was the undisputed leader, the godfather, the crime boss of nearly 800 feet of Manning Street directly in front of our house. And the crimes that Tom presided over were, things that we've all done. Breaking all the windows in the Truesdells chicken coop, stealing cigarettes from our parents, putting smashed pumpkins in mailboxes on Halloween.
You guys did that. No.
And here's the thing, if there are any kids out there, putting smashed pumpkins in mailboxes on Halloween is only a problem if your mailman is also a cop. So thank you for that life lesson, Officer Novak.
Good boy.
Tom ultimately escaped a life of crime on the mean streets of Jefferson by starting the Springdale News. And I was a cub reporter at the time, which meant that Tom was not just my brother, he was my boss. And I learned a lot from him. I learned how to write a complete sentence, and I learned how to operate a mimeograph machine. I learned how to burst into people's homes with Huck and demand that they give us their news. And the main thing that I learned is that in Massachusetts in 1959, there were no child labor laws. And I am not going to tell you what my salary was working at the Springdale News, but let me just say that it was insulting and deeply hurtful, even for a 6-year-old. And I look back on it and I don't know how I put food on the table. It's something that I'm still working out, but that's a story for another time. When Tom turned 18 and college beckoned, he put down his cigar and took off his green visor and left the dog-eat-dog world of journalism on Manning Street behind. And at that time, he came up with one of the great answers to an interview question that I've ever heard. Our family was traveling up to Maine, and our parents wanted Tom to interview at Bates College. So we stopped at Bates, and the entire family went galloping up the stairs to the admissions office. And I don't remember exactly, but I have no doubt they were thrilled to see us all there. And the admissions officer asked Tom, "Why do you want to go to Bates College?" And Tom's response was, "I don't, but these guys want me to," pointing to his parents. So it was a surprisingly short interview at Bates College. But what it did was it opened the door for Tom to go to Boston University. And I was very glad that he went to BU because it ended up that he and I went to the next to the last game of the 1967 season at Fenway Park when the Red Sox beat the Twins and stormed on to lose the World Series. So after that magical game at Fenway Park, the next 57 years passed without incident. Tom came up with a unique approach to his professional life. He decided that he would switch careers every 10 years. And it was bold and innovative. And I think that it was a little bit ahead of its time. Some people might say way ahead of its time because it still hasn't caught on. But Tom was successful and respected in all of his many, many careers. Now, Tom did take time off from work to have two daughters, Amy and Jill, who have brightened the world immeasurably. He also met and re-met and finally had the good sense to marry Joyce, who brought him more happiness in 23 years than he found in all of the previous years combined. So, you know, Tom, as some of us know, Tom is a rather competitive fellow, and he has tenaciously held on to his 4-year lead on me. And at this particular birthday, it's a bit sobering for me. And this tonight is really about me. It's sobering for me as I take a hard look at what lies ahead. And it makes me think that I am glad that Tom is still leading the way. So I would like to wish my brother a happy 75th birthday.
Yeah, cheers, cheers.
Here, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Cheers.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Can we sing happy birthday before we get off?
No.
Julia, why don't you do that? Why don't you do that alone? That'd be great.
We'll come in. Well, you started.
You started. We'll come in when appropriate.
Yeah, how does it go? How does it go again?
Recorded, remember.
Yeah, as soon as we're feeling it, we'll come in.
Well, thank
I need
you
a
all
teleprompter.
for coming. to
This is wonderful.
Richard, thank you very much for that.
Good seeing everybody.
Heartfelt and
Very
amusing
humorous.
and amazing. So, and just for the record, I have recorded this and hopefully I'll be able to pass it on if anyone's interested. And I have to commend the family for very good attendance. I mean, I count 3 people that didn't make it today, which is.
Who are they and why aren't they here?
We want the dirt.
Well, Tom, you could have another one tomorrow for those 3 who didn't.
We'll catch up with them.
I might pass on one very quick thing for the family because we're all here. So I've been asked to join the Worcester's about to celebrate its 300th from 1722. So there's a publications thing. And so I was on my first meeting this afternoon. And the things that came up were the Chandler's slaves and the Payne slaves.
Oh.
So I just want to pass that on and share that. It's sort of we'll see what that booklet becomes, but I'll do my best.
We'll all sleep better now.
Yeah,
So
great note to end
Oak
on.
Walker came up. So Oak Walker came up. Yeah.
It's always
And
great to end on slavery.
And it's an amazing story that Tom Doty had of a fellow who, I don't know all the details, but sort of felt not with black guy, not well treated, came up and Levi Lincoln did invite him into tea at 40 Elm Street. And so there's kind of interesting, but it's going to be a very interesting story that also includes the Nipmunks and and all that Lowe's land acquisition. So be careful.
So do Huck and I need to move?
Not yet. You might have to stock your books might have to
Is
be
that
different.
why you guys have all moved out of Worcester? I'm just asking.
John Anderson, there's great. Anyway,
Tom, I
that's
hope you have a
great.
wonderful time with your daughters there to
Yeah.
celebrate your birthday.
Yeah.
That's such a
Yeah.
special treat.
Have a great time.
Possible not to have a
Mark.
wonderful time with your daughter.
Good. This is
Happy
good.
birthday.
Happy
Great to
birthday.
see
Happy
everybody.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
meet
We'll be there in
We'll meet in
person.
person. We'll meet in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
real, the in-person party is coming up. I will keep you all posted.
Great.
Thanks, Richard.
Okay,
So,
take care.
Bye. Be happy.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Good.
Is that better?
Leave.
What dog is that? Is that?
Bye, Bonnie.
You look beautiful.